Woohoo! We're talking about wah and violins today. It's a thing that a lot of people want to do. A lot of people love using wah with their violins. A lot of people do it kind of not so great. And we want to talk a little bit about how you can use wah with your violin and sound better while you're doing it. So what you just heard was the Whaler wah that we carry here. You can also get a wah as part of a multi-effects pedal. I've got one right underneath my feet here in the Boss One ME80. Let's actually hear that one for a second too. So that's a lot of fun. Yep, using that in conjunction with some distortion and reverb and delay, and we're just going to kind of have a lot of fun with this. What exactly is a wah pedal? Well, it's a band pass filter with a sweepable frequency. What the heck does that mean? It means that when you kick it in, it allows a certain band of frequencies to pass through, a band pass. So it cuts everything above and it cuts everything below and allows that band to pass. But when you move your toe up and down, it actually moves where that band is on the frequency spectrum. So if I play a note, and this is with my heel down, so you can hear that just sort of the lower frequencies are coming through, and then we can sweep it up. So basically it moves that bell curve up and down as you move the wah, as you move your toe up and down. What are those frequencies? It sort of depends on the pedal, on the wah pedal. All of them sound different, but usually heel down is going to be centered around 300 or 400 hertz, and toe down is going to be centered around 2K. So that 2K is starting to get pretty bitey. That 300 or 400 hertz is kind of dark sounding. So that's what allows us to go from that dark to that real bitey sound, and then everything in between, we have full control over what that pedal does. I want to let you guys hear a conversation that I did with Joe Deninzon, one of the great electric violin players of all time. He's out of New York. He is an absolute master with the wah pedal. I'm going to let you hear about 60 seconds of him goofing off with a wah pedal, and then we'll get to my interview with him. So here we go. Yeah, I want to talk about wah pedals a little bit. I feel like they're a super expressive tool for violinists, and you use them extensively and really well. But I feel like the majority of people who I see use them don't use them well. You know what I mean? You pretty much just get this rhythmic. They're basically tapping their foot while they're playing. And I don't feel like it's used well. So I was going to ask you if you've got some tips and tricks that you like to use, and then maybe talk about how you use this expressive tool in your playing.
Sure. In my book, Plugging In, I got to do a plug for the book, but in this book, I have a bunch of wah etudes for people. So I use the wah for a few different things. It's great for rhythmic stuff. So if you learn how to chop, chopping and wah-wah pedals are like a marriage made in heaven, as you well know, right?
So absolutely.
Think of Jimi Hendrix playing Voodoo Child, So that's like a completely different sound than if you were playing that straight, right? And of course, combined with different pedals like a distortion, if you're playing like a shreddy distortion solo, it just adds a completely new dimension to your playing. So the wah is a lot like having a live EQ pedal at your feet, and the basic, the most the old one, the basic one is this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Dunlop Crybaby. That's, I think, one of the early ones. The classic wah wah pedal that everyone uses.
Right.
Or used. And it's just so big and heavy. A few years ago, I discovered this really cool wah wah pedal. Well, before I did that, what this one does, it's just a straight wah wah pedal. It changes the EQ. It gets brighter as you move your toe to the front, and it cuts the highs as you move your toe back, so you get a really muffled sound. So that's the basic EQ. Then I got a Dimebag Darrell EQ. A Dimebag Darrell wah wah pedal, which I can't find it. It's got it's black, but it's got green camouflage design, and you can switch the EQ parameters. So you can work the wah within a certain EQ snapshot or parameter. So you can fine tune your wah. If you prefer a deeper sound on your wah, you could do that. But it was also very big, and I wanted to leave room for a lot of different pedals. So then I discovered this really cool pedal by a company called AMT, a Russian company. It's called the Little Japanese Girl, and it's small, and it also has that same functionality. It only lasted me about a year, and then it broke, which was unfortunate. But it was a great little pedal. So then I got back to the basics, and I got a Baby Crybaby, which is my main pedal that I use now. And that's what I have. I'll use it if I'm playing solos, and if I'm doing really rhythmic, funky stuff like I just demonstrated, you know. I'll use it for expressive purposes, like in a solo. If I'm playing a really melodic line. And here's a thing I love to do. I use it as an EQ. Let's say I have some weird pedal that I like to use. Like here's a talk box pedal. So I have the talk box on. It goes oy oy oy. It's good on the Jewish gigs. If I have the wah wah pedal, but I'm not working it, I just have it up. I have it up all the way so it's bright. It just cuts through more. So when you're playing in a band and you want to do a solo with that crazy guy, the audience hears it more. And the other one that I use that for is the Korg Miku, which is makes your violin speak Japanese. Without the wah wah pedal, it sounds a little muffled. In the wah. So you hear the difference.
Yeah, I've heard you use that pedal a bunch of times. I don't think I ever realized that you use that just with the wah with the toe down.
I found that it's very helpful. And I'll do a quick close up on the Miku so people can see what it looks like. There it is. That's the Miku. That's the Korg.
That's awesome.
They discontinued it. It wasn't that popular because it was such a weird pedal. So now you can get it on eBay for like $500 or something.
Whoa!
So the other thing I like to do, sometimes when I'm using the whammy pedal, I like to do this kind of fast delay thing. And then I'll mix it with the whammy. If I have the wah pedal up as an EQ, it helps it really sound more intense. So those are a few of the ways I use it. And I've heard a lot of guitar. I don't do this as much, but I hear a lot of guitarists pull it back. Jimi Hendrix did this, and get this kind of muffled sound, which is just another color you can use. You know, it's got that kind of held back muffly sound, but it's beautiful. And you don't always have to. A lot of students just kind of blindly just go up and down. You really got to learn to control it. You don't always need to have it up all the way. Even when you're doing wah, 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 you don't have to go all the way. Just go. I'm using it about halfway now. So there's a lot. If you get one and just explore all the different colors you can get, if you just play with the degree to which you work it, you know, you can find a lot of cool sounds and you know, get some new ideas for your playing.
Yeah, so definitely recommend people buy your book. If you got a couple of quick tips you can give for practicing with a wah to get comfortable with it.
I would do scales, and I have let me find a wah etude. Here's one kind of thing I have. I would have people do just scales, or like a pentatonic scale, with the wah going up all the way. Or play it rotating the wah twice for each note. Or you can do you can practice using the wah and pumping it only halfway, for example, controlling, you know, how bright the wah is. And then I had more involved etudes where incorporating chopping. So like 4 down, 4 up. Or alternating like wah, having an exercise like this. And I really specify where to use the wah and how much. But for that, you have to learn how to chop.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's the first step, really getting comfortable with chopping and then incorporating the wah pedal.
Yeah, I find that the exact timing, the independence of timing between your right foot, and it's usually your right foot, is between the right foot and the right hand. If you're hitting the wah before you attack the note, you get one sound. If the wah goes up after you attack the notes, you get a different sound. So you get that ping if the toe is down as you attack it. But if your toe's coming down just as or after you're attacking it, it sort of swallows that attack, right? So it helps.
Thank you for saying that. That's a very, very common rookie mistake. People just have it up right away. When you engage it, you want to back off of it right away in a gig, because then it's going to be nails on a chalkboard. You know, if the treble is up all the way. So that's something to practice. Really learning to control it and knowing how much to use it and trusting your ear where it needs to be brighter, where it needs to pull back, and, you know, not coming on strong with it right away.
Yeah, getting that independence in timing between your right hand and your right foot is super important.
Absolutely. And unlike most pedals, this pedal you really work. It's not like turning a button on, turning a button off. This pedal is expressive, and it's very sensitive to the angle of your foot and your toe. So you do need to. It takes some mastery, it takes some practice.
What do you do with your left foot? I mean, so I guess if people are, you're generally standing to play in a rock context. So you got to have pretty good balance because you're pretty much supporting all your weight with your left foot because you want to have fine control with your right foot. Do you actually turn? I find that I turn my left foot sideways a little bit to give me more stability so that I'm not relying on my right foot to support my body.
It's funny. I've never even been conscious of my left foot. I never thought about what I did with it. Now I have to think about it. Uh, it's one of those things like you do it and then, oh my God, I have to teach it now. What is it that I do? So that's probably, yeah, I keep my weight. I don't rely on having my weight on my right foot.
Awesome. Yeah. And I guess let people know that when they see you pushing down on that, how do you turn your wah pedal on and off? This might be super, super basic for some people, and other people may not know at all.
Things we take for granted. Yeah, wah pedals are tricky because there's usually no on-off light, um, which they should put in them actually. But you engage it like this. You have to press really hard on the toe, and you feel it clicking, and then it engages, and then you feel it clicking again, and it disengages. I can't tell you how many times I thought it was off and it was on.
Uh-huh.
Everything sounds really bright. I'm like, what's going on? Uh, and sometimes you really got to. They different pedals engage differently. So some it's a very light touch and it's on. Mm-hmm. Others you really got to press down. So you just have to be familiar with your pedal, and so it's natural. It's only natural that if you don't have a lot of experience with these pedals, as soon as you turn it on, you're gonna forget to pull back. So here's what happens. It's already gonna be very bright. So you have to kind of silently turn it on and pull back and start back here. So you don't freak out the listener.